I hope all y'all having a blessed day today, man. On this Monday, peace and blessings to your loved ones. um, Nice day out, man. I'm sitting out here, smoking a cone, looking at the water. I'll show you the water real quick. This my view. You can see that, yeah. This is my view, man. Nice day out. But I wanted to give my 2 cents on the stabbing of one of those twin brothers, man. Let me just say this like this. I'm gonna keep it real with you. Black people don't have the same kind of hate that certain white people have for us. I'm gonna say that again. On some Dr. Umar shit, even though I don't like him. Black people do not have the same kind of hate for white people that white people have for us. And that's really just what it is. You're not gonna see a black person that's gonna be at a game or at an event and that's gonna walk completely all the way in a different direction, you know what I'm saying? Let's say just across the field or, across the other side and go confront a white person because they're standing in a tent full of black people. Because that's pretty much what it is. He had to stick out like a sore thumb. He had to be the only black person there because it wasn't like they were right next to him or the tent right over. From the reports that's being put out, he was a decent distance. So he stood out you know what I'm saying? He stood out. So they went over there and they picked on him. They picked him out because he was easy to spot. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. That's not something black people would do. Black people are not going to be at a football game, a basketball game, a track and field event or something like that. And it's mainly black people. And we see a white person in the tent. We're not going to go over there and say, "What are you doing here? Get away from here. You're not supposed to be saying." We're just not gonna do that. I had to start the video off like that with the truth. Because that's just the truth of the matter. If you look back into the white people's history, European history, they were brutal people, man. They were brutal. Now, granted, I know I probably have some subscribers on this channel, and I've met other white men and white women in my life that were really good people. But unfortunately, you can't help who your ancestors are. Your ancestors are who your ancestors are. And pretty much all white people, Europeans, Italians, Albanians, Irish, majority of the white race, if they trace back to their great-great-great-grandfathers and stuff like that, they were slave owners. They were racist. Even today, even some white people today that I'm cool with, maybe again on this channel, even maybe your grandfather's grandmother, maybe even an aunt. You have somebody in your family that's racist, that doesn't like black people, that has their mind made up in their head how they feel about black people, and it's not going to change, even if they come across a good black person. So with that being said, that young man had every right to defend himself. And if a knife was what he chose, so be it, because people have died from being jumped. Nowadays, jumps are dangerous. You don't know what is on a person's mind. You don't know what is a person's goal. You don't know when a person's going to stop. Some people stop when they see blood. Some people are black out. And they just don't stop. They end up killing somebody. Or they hit somebody in their temple. You know what I'm saying? Hit somebody in the wrong spot, the wrong way. And you could kill somebody. So, I personally never carried a knife when I was young. I was in a hood. You know what I'm saying? I was in unfamiliar areas a lot, different territories. And I never carried a knife with me. You know what I'm saying? I got jumped a few times, but I fought. I held my own without a weapon because I just never believed in weapons. And luckily, I've never had anybody use a weapon on me. No brass knuckles, no stick, no pole, no even being jumped. Nobody's ever used a weapon on me, and I'm blessed for that. I'm blessed. Now, me personally, I wouldn't have used a knife on those two white boys. I would have just went up with the hands. But again, you never know what somebody's intentions are. So you cannot blame him for using a knife to defend himself. And you also don't know what he's been through. You don't know if he's been jumped in the past, if he's dealt with, racist white people that attacked him, that threatened his life. You don't know. You don't know. But to come out of nowhere and tell somebody where they can't be and put your hands on somebody and bully somebody and you're not even an adult is outrageous. And whichever way he chose to defend himself, he is within reason, especially in a state like that where there's self-defense laws. right? There's stand your ground laws, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm in Connecticut. I'm in CT. We don't have those kind of laws. We have those laws, I believe, at home and your workplace, I believe. But yeah, man, um, free that man. FBA done raised or donated over 400,000 in his favor. That's awesome. That's amazing. I love to see it. You know, because I used to be against reparations, but black people definitely need reparations. If their bloodline ties back to slavery, if they had slaves in their bloodline, they definitely deserve reparations, man. Because we as black people never enslaved white people. There was never years, decades, or centuries of us enslaving them. It's not fair, man. We already know a lot of colleges been built off of African Americans' backs, off of Africans' backs. We already know that stuff, man. We know white people, the higher ups and you know what I'm saying, the higher ups of the white people, man, they've been stealing from black people, from dance moves to music. Now I'm seeing this Pop the Balloon show. They got this Pop the Balloon show on Netflix. Am I right or am I wrong? Are white people doing it now? Now I know the original Arlette, I think she's involved in it as well, but it's just crazy how they always just gotta, you know what I'm saying, if it's something hot, if it's something popular that black people do and they know that they can make money off of it, they always want in. I'm pretty sure they offered Arlette a bag. I'm pretty sure they offered a serious bag. But that doesn't matter, man. If I was her, I'd be like, no. But then sometimes when you say no, they threaten you. YouTube finds a way of diminishing your views, slowing down your traction, your watch time, not notifying your subscribers because Arlette, she gets consistent 1 million views every Wednesday. I don't watch anymore, but when I was watching, I noticed consistently she was getting 1 million views or more every episode weekly on her Pop the Balloon. So yeah, man, I know I kind of got off topic, but you know what I'm saying, it still coincides with the video, man. But free that young man, free Karmelo Anthony. And it's funny that he has the name of one of my favorite basketball players at the time when I was into basketball, because I haven't been into basketball for years, for a good 10 years plus. But yeah, man, free Karmelo Anthony. He defended himself. Those white boys were bullies. We already have evidence that the father was arrested for sexual assault. We don't know who that was on. I've seen a rumor thrown out there that possibly it was the boys. That's why the mom has so much anger and vengeance towards him, but that's just an assumption. There's no facts. There's no facts in any of this video. It's just my opinion. This whole video is my opinion. Or whatever. But yeah, man, I saw the news video, the news outlet, when the son that's still alive, the brother that's still alive, and the mom was on an interview, and they brought up her ex-husband, which they kept calling her husband. You know, she was going to say something, and her son pretty much told her to shut up, be quiet, you know, when it came to the father. But it's already out there. I believe it was a sexual assault, because I think the reporter was kind of trying to figure out why they weren't together, weren't living there anymore. Because they heard a man in the background. I think it's the stepfather or her current husband. And they said, oh, that's your husband in the background. And she was going to say, no, we're not together. We've been divorced. But the son made her shut up, be quiet. So yeah, man, when they kept bringing up the husband again after that, you could just see the anger. Her face just switched up, man. You could tell she really has some serious hate towards him. And it's definitely probably from being arrested for sexual assault, but I wonder who it was against, who it was on. That's what I wonder. But yeah, man, these white devils are sick, man. They're sick. They really, really are. And it's taught. This stuff is taught from generation to generation. Like I said, man, you look back at a lot of white people, they have this stuff, man, their background, where their greats were, and just sometimes just greats, were slave owners, man. And made money off the backs of Africans, man, African Americans. And the father, he just looks sick. You know, I'm a definitely blame him for being arrested for sexual assault and whatever else he was teaching those boys, for the reason why they are the way they are. Because if you look at Karmelo Anthony, his family, I believe his parents been married for 13 years, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. And he has siblings. So that matters. That means something when you compare families. You're comparing a broken home to someone who came from a well-raised home who doesn't have a background, doesn't have any priors. It's simple, man. You don't have to think hard. You don't have to think hard. It's really simple. So yeah, man, I don't want this video to be too long. I just want to come up here and give my opinion as far as dealing with racism from young white boys when I was young. I never really had that problem, but I do know that some people have been through it, and I feel for those people, man. A lot of young men in the South, and a lot of young men, even in my state, my Connecticut, may have been treated differently than I was treated. You know what I'm saying? But I wasn't going for it. I've dated white girls and white women pretty much most of my whole life. White girls at the time because I was young, and I say women now. And I always was in the suburbs, man. From the hood, was living in the hood, then moved to the suburbs, going to a different part of the suburbs. You know? Because when I was living in the hood and moved to the suburbs, I moved to an area where there were still black people. You know what I'm saying? And then when I would date a lot of these white girls, I would go to the suburbs where there was literally no black people. And you know what I'm saying? I would run into these white boys. I even was cool with a couple of them, man. They never gave me no smoke. They never wanted no smoke with me. And I'll be 35 this year, so you do the math. This was back in like 08. You know what I'm saying? This is back like 07, between 06 and 08, man. But again, I never carried a weapon. It takes a lot to stab somebody, man. It really does. And let me just say that before I end this video. It takes a lot to stab somebody. It's very personal. You're up close and personal. I believe there's a lot of anger behind that. So I gotta be fair. Just because his mom and dad have been together for a long time, that doesn't mean everything is good, everything is peaches and cream. Or that doesn't mean that Karmelo Anthony doesn't have some mental issues or some depression going on. You know? That doesn't mean that. And I'm not saying he does. I'm just keeping it real, man. We can't be one-sided. We can't be one-sided because, like I said, man, I'm from the hood. I don't think Karmelo Anthony was born and raised from the hood. I think he lives is growing up in a well area, a decent area. I never, ever felt like I needed a knife. You know? Never. So, what was he going through? That's what I want to know. That's what people are not talking about, man. We have to be fair. What was he going through that he felt like he needed to keep a knife on him? I need to know. And it's gonna come out eventually. But that's not cool. That's not cool to me. Because like I said, he had to defend himself. Whichever way he chose to defend himself, within reason. Because like I said, people have been jumped and people have been killed, hit their temple. You know what I'm saying? Stomped out. Oh shit. My hat almost flew in my head. I went crazy. But yeah, people almost been stomped out and stuff like that. So they could have killed him, man, if they didn't stop, or if nobody didn't stop the situation. But there was enough people around, right? There were enough people around that if it got too ugly, somebody would have broke in and stopped it, right? We could assume. So again, was a knife really needed? And I also want to know how the only one of the brothers gets stabbed. How was the older brother not able to pull Karmelo Anthony off of his brother? You know what I'm saying? Or defend his brother's life somewhat to the point where they both got stabbed but both lived. That's also what I want to know too. So, yeah, man. Overall, I want to say we got to stop. I can't say we got to stop the hate, man, because it's not us, man. Like I said, us black people, we don't go around looking for white people to terrorize. There are black people who really have hatred towards white people. And can we blame them? Because again, slavery, man. White people want to try to ignore it, man, but it is what it is. Let us enslave y'all for 20 years, 30 years. And then we even. You know what I'm saying? I'm joking, but you get what I'm saying, man, like for real. But yeah, man. I want to say stop the hate, but there's white people that will never stop hating black people. Their hatred for us will never end. It's unfortunate, but I've been swallowed that pill. I've been accepted that a long time ago. And you know what I do? I stay away from them. I stay away from people in general nowadays, in general. But if I know somebody don't like me, a white person don't like me, and I may have to interact with them, I'm just gonna stay away from them. It's that simple, man. But I would love to know your opinions, man. Comment down below. Hit the like button. Share, all that good stuff. What up, Rafael Colon, man? I'll catch you on the next one. Peace and love.